if you have a Raspberry Pi or multiple Raspberry Pis on your home network and you want to see what is their current status, are they still booted, do they need rebooting, have they got a problem, whatever, well, how would you do that? Well, of course, one way is just to go to the command line and, secure shell over to it. You might want to run, htop, look at the CPU usage, look at the memory usage, maybe df-h, have a look at the current hard disk and so on. You can run different command line prompts to find out the state of the system, and that's great, and that works in a lot of interesting cases. However, wouldn't it be nice if we could see all that information from just opening up a web page? So here is a web page that shows me the current state of my Raspberry Pi. I can see the temperature, I can see how much memory is being used, I can see the current CPU load. We'll talk more about that in a minute. I can kind of get an idea of the hardware, the disk space, the voltage, everything, all from just opening up a web page that auto updates as well. So I've got the uptime, and it auto updates every so often to give me the latest information. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can install this on a Raspberry Pi. It's really easy, and then you've got access to all that information just by opening up a web page. Okay, so the project in question is called the Raspberry Pi Dashboard. Open source project. It's basically written in PHP, and Raspberry Pi Dashboard, and it gives you all this different information. As you've seen, there's also a light theme and a dark theme. It works on mobile and on desktop, so it's really easy to install, and that's what we're going to do. You'll find a link to this repository in the description below. Okay, so here I am on a Raspberry Pi 5. This is a fresh install of Raspberry Pi OS. Everything's up to date, so I quickly go over here, click on the terminal button, and what I want to do is make sure that I've got a few things installed. So we're going to do sudo apt install what we need, git, because we need to download this from a GitHub repository. You're going to need Apache too, because obviously we're serving a web page, so we want a web server. And you're going to need PHP, which is the back-end processing language for generating all that lovely web page. Go ahead and install that. We can use -y to make sure that just goes without asking us any questions. Now, there is an installer script. This is actually the source code for it. I've had a quick look through it. It doesn't do anything suspicious, so you can go ahead and run this. You can follow all the steps manually, and they are laid out on the website. This just does them for you in a fairly short, it's not even 100 lines. So let's go ahead and use this installer script. So the way we get the installer script is to fetch the installer script from GitHub. This very instruction is on the web page. Basically, we're just saying get install.shell from that GitHub repository. So that's what we're going to do. And now we just need to run it. And we can do that with sudo bash and then install.shell. It'll say, do you have a web server running? Yes, well, we do, because we just installed that. Now, what folder do you want it to go into? Because obviously you might be doing other things with your web services. So I'm just going to type in mon for monitor, and it's going to go ahead. It clones the repository, sets all the various permissions, and that's it. So now we can actually open up a web page and have a look at that Raspberry Pi. Now, the first time you run it, there are some things you can set up. For example, the appearance, I'm going to go with the dark theme. It also wants you to set a password, and the reason for that is that you can do things like reboot your Raspberry Pi via this page, and this offers some form of authentication. However, it probably isn't best to expose this to the wider internet. This is something you should be running on your home lab. It's basically checked that everything is okay in terms of permissions. Yes, it seems to be, so we can go directly to the dashboard. And it's asking us for that password because that's what we set up. And then up comes the page. So here we can see that we've got the CPU load, the temperature, the memory, and that's just it on the first iteration. Up here at the top, we've got the name, the address, and that's great. Now, I'll show you a more detailed page in a second. However, just want to talk about this CPU load. In Linux and in Unix terms, the load traditionally is measured as a value between 0 and 1. So 1 being 100% and 0 being 0. So we can see here the average over the last minute has been 4%, basically 0.04. Over the last 5 minutes, it's been 13%. And over the last 15 minutes, that's the average. And one thing is to notice, this is per core. So in fact, what this actually means is that 3% of one core. So actually, when it's at 4 or 400%, it will be the system is at its greatest load. So that's just, you need to note that, because here it's kind of red because it's a Raspberry Pi, I suppose, but you might think, oh, look at that, it's all big and it's red and it's all my systems. But no, actually, look, just here, it's not even 2% over the last minute. So that's absolutely fine. Now, if you scroll down, you have the option here to reload the page to get the full page content. So that's what we're going to do. And as you scroll down, you can see things like how much disk space is used. It tells you some information about the hardware, tells you what kernel you're using, tells you some things about the operating system, the processor, and so on. So lots and lots of information here. However, if you notice here, there's an error that's appearing here. And if you scroll up a bit, there's an error that's appearing here. Now, the way you fix that is you need to add the web server user to a particular group, which is called video. So let's go back to the command line. So what you need to do is sudo user mod -ag. So we're adding someone to a group. Video is the name of the group because it gets that information by using the vcgen command, which is actually an interface to the video GPU. And so you have to add it to the video group. You don't need to worry too much about that. But if you add www-data, that will add it. And now you need to reboot. This caught me out. I went back to the web page, refresh, doesn't work. You have to reboot. So let's just reboot. Okay, so it's rebooted. So let's open up the web page again. Okay, uptime is only 43 seconds because we've literally just rebooted it. However, if we scroll down a bit here now we're getting the voltage information, and now we're getting the full model information here like that. So there you go. A very quick way to get a dashboard showing you the status of your Raspberry Pi 5. That's it. My name's Gary Sims. This is Gary Explains. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up and please subscribe to the channel. Okay, that's it. I'll see you in the next one.